Hello and welcome to the Esoteric Software stream. My name is Erika and today we will continue the advanced rig that we were doing on a face and we'll add 3Dness to what was done before. I'm going to show you what we did last time. It's actually the advanced setup of the face that we had. This time we're going to also give it depth, taking into account the work that was already done, and so making it do this sort of movement, as well as rig the rest of the things around her face, such as the hat, the hair, and the bow, so that we can move and maybe do some test animation with it. The file that I'm on is the blue hat artwork by Mattia Rangoni. Progress. By the way, and it bears repeating, look at this awesome art that Mattia Rangoni painted as a study and then let me rig. He himself divided the various pieces for us so we could work on it. So thank you, Mattia, for doing all this work for us. So last time we actually already did the rigging of the various parts of the face, and if you remember, I was very adamant to get you to try to set the weights so they would be on the face shoulder when they're not influencing everything. We're going to create the transform constraints that are going to control the depth of our character. So let's connect the one in reverse to the one that is going to move everything. So face inverse, new transform constraint. And then we select the target, the one that is going to control it all, which is going to be face control. Okay, face control, that's fine. I'm gonna call this face inverse instead. And then I'm gonna match the position. After now I'm gonna close the weights, okay? And I'm going to set the translation to -100 and -100. And that's set. Now when I move that, I'm gonna show you and then undo. It's doing this sort of movement. Perfect. Now we connect the face shoulder to face control. Now we don't want this to move in reverse, we just want it to move at a slower pace compared to the rest. Now we have to consider that despite the position of face control, it does not have to be like moving exactly with the nose, unless the nose is very long, in which case if the nose is the longest thing ever on this face, it's perfectly fine that the tip of the nose is the part that moves the most. But I think that the part that is going to be the closest to us is not going to be the nose, but it's going to be more the hat. So consider this just a convenient place to place a control. However, if this girl was to smash her face into a wall, what would hit first? I think that's gonna be the hat, the brim of the hat, and then the nose, and then the lips, and then the chin, then the forehead, and then everything else. So that's the logic that we use. So face shoulder, new transform constraint, and we bind it so it follows face control. I'm gonna call this face shoulder, and I'm gonna match its position again because I don't want it to move from where it is. And I'm going to set the translation, instead of a minus, I'm gonna set it an in between. I think a 70% is going to be fine from the very back. I think 70 is gonna be fine. And I'm gonna roll with that. If I notice that 70 is not that good of an amount, I'm gonna change it to something else. Face inverse, face shoulder, and face control are already bound to our mesh. I'm going now to create a test animation so that we can create the movement, the depth of this face. I'm gonna call this face turn. I'm gonna move this little thing here on one side and key it at the end. Then in the opposite direction, then up, and then down. Now I'm doing it a bit randomly because everything is moving, which is confusing. I wonder if 70 is too much. So to understand if that's too much or okay, one thing that I could very easily do could be to select those parts that are supposed to anchor the face in place and give them a strength. Maybe I get it to be, instead of face shoulder, like here, which by the way I want to lock the jaw because I want the jaw weights to stay the same. So jaw can be locked by just hovering on the little square that we have here, so it stays in place. And now I'm going to change the weights so that maybe it is until it feels like it's basically attached. Okay, so something like this. Oh yeah, that anchored it. And around this amount the face is attached where it's supposed to be. I probably want the jaw to be slightly more anchored, so maybe I get it to be like this. Yeah, this could also work. Okay, now I'll stop at one of the extremes, like for example this one, and see, like the face is literally translating on one side. So I'm going to select these parts that I know should be a tad closer, and then move it on the opposite side and select the respective other weights here. Okay, then I'll go back here and I'll give it more face inverse influence, basically getting it back in place. Now I'll play it. Well, it's a bit better. I'm gonna save this selection as selection 2 so that I can recall quickly these vertices and change the weights a bit more. Now I'm doing what's called a first phase, where I try to get vertices to be like 80% correct. I'm not aiming for perfection, I'm just aiming to quickly get them to look a bit more believable. And okay, because her face is slightly tilted, I have like more vertices on this side that I have on the other side, so I probably can't give them exactly the same weights, so I'm just gonna eyeball it and see if this helps or not. Now I'm going to adjust the single weights one by one. Okay, don't need it to go that fast. I can slow it down. Okay, so I can see the horrible mistakes that I certainly did. So maybe I'm going slightly outside range, because there's parts of the face that are not supposed to go that much in front. Also, surely the fact that I'm having all this hair in place, not moving, is not helping. So I'm going to hide the hair. I'm also gonna hide so I can just see this not scary at all face, right? Yeah, another thing that can quickly get us to understand the depth, to set the extremes correctly, is to set the nose weights to be 100% or like stronger on face control. So it's doing these, so it gives a bit more depth once again. Okay, then here too, we're gonna increase this. Okay, this should be slightly less. And there's the whole area of the eyebrows here that should be stronger because it's closer to us than that. Okay, so something like this. Okay, I see that something is not right in the mesh. So I'm going to change the mesh. Oh, here there was this line that was crossing wrongly. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna create an orange line by clicking and dragging while I'm in create mode, so that the triangles that I want are gonna be respected instead of the ones that Spine tried to connect for me. Okay, let's go back. It works a lot better. Now let's get this nose to be better in general. And I'm going to bring them forward by assigning more of face control. They're roughly at the same distance, so that's why they should look a tad closer. Okay, and with this we can sort of shape the nose of this person. So for example, I think that this and this should actually be a bit more in the back, because otherwise she gets the same unfortunate nose that I have. I think she has a more snatched, cuter one. Yeah, I think that's nice. I'm gonna give it a bump maybe here, so pushing this a little bit back, or not. I'm gonna push this, keep it here, but maybe I'll give the bump here so she does not have a crooked nose, but a cute nose. Oh yeah, something like this. I'm going to give a bit more influence also here to push the nostrils out. So as you see, it can be very simple to create a nose, especially if you placed earlier the vertices, the various vertices, a bit tactically. Let's push these lips to also be a bit more in the front, but not everywhere. Maybe just these parts here, they should be pushed more in the front. They are doing this. Okay, then I feel like the chin is ridiculously going forward. I think that it can have slightly less of the jaw influence. I can give it face inverse so that I can use less of these weights and still have the jaw get the most. Like, this should not be that much in the front. So I think I'm going to try to lock mouth bottom path, blah blah, and instead give it more influence. Instead basically of face shoulder, I'm gonna replace that with face inverse, so it goes a tad more in the back. Okay, then I said that I need to push the jaw part here a tad more in the front. So for this I'm gonna lock the jaw again, and maybe I'll get the face inverse to be less strong. Maybe like this. I need to touch them up one by one. So if I do it too much, it detaches from the neck, which is not very ideal. So I kind of have to keep it in place. So instead I have to work more on these parts. Maybe push them like this. Then I'm seeing like some parts of her face like this going much outside. Okay, like here. This and this probably should be more on face inverse. Although like maybe like this, so they stay in place. Okay, on the other side, what goes outside? Maybe this. I'm gonna give it more of this, bit more. Okay, on this side it sort of looks nice. When she raises the chin here, I'm gonna touch these up. Probably the problem is not this, but these ones that should be weighted similarly. And also this should go slightly more in the back. Let's see it playing. Yeah, then seeing some triangle problems. I got definitely the weights wrong. So instead, these should be pushed a bit more in front. This maybe a little bit more in the back. And this a bit more in the back like this. Let's see. Bit better. I'm thinking maybe I'm pushing it too strongly up, and that's what's causing the distortion. So probably the maximum for this is gonna be slightly less than what I set it. So more like this. What is this? Oh, that's the mouth. I was worried. Let's reparent it to the mouth so it follows the rest. Okay, now I'm seeing more of the chin. Looks already better. The mouth is going outside. This mouth is gonna need rigging. Too bad. Yeah, because it goes outside. I'm gonna turn this into a mesh. And I'm going to, I don't know, generate a couple of vertices. Maybe like this. And then bind it to mouth bottom, mouth top. And I need it to go with face inverse a little bit. Okay, then I'll stop at the problematic frames where the face goes outside of the scope. Here, I'm gonna assign more of face inverse. Same here. Oh yeah, I think that's it. Okay, this fixed the situation. Now the mouth is contained. This area of the face is so weird. Okay, I'm just gonna give it like some depth for the lols, but it's again one part that it's gonna be mostly hidden. Still, we have some roundness on this area of the face, so it sort of makes sense to weight it a little bit. Here I could just remove a little bit of face control to get slightly more roundness. Same here, slightly less, or especially here, slightly less. Okay, I feel like I might have given this one too much strength of face inverse, whereas I think it should be pushed slightly more in the front. Okay, then on the lips, I think the lower lip should not bulge out this much. So here, where I gave it this very strong, confident weight, I'm gonna dial it down. And as simple as that, it's basically done. I'm gonna lower it slightly here, this face control. And especially here, this part is gonna be less strong. Now, if I wanted to, I could also get the eyes to curve more for the sake of the realism. Then let's try to do that. Face inverse. We can get it to curve a little bit. Here too. No, this already has it. This one needs it. Even the smallest percentage is so strong. There. Can I get the chin to be better? I wonder. But is it worth it? No, I don't think so. I think this is good enough. Alright, so I'm gonna reactivate some other parts of the face. So I'm gonna filter on slots. And then reactivate, for example, this hair base, and then maybe weight that too. So I'll go back here, select it, and then I'll transform this into a mesh. I'll create a mesh for this. I'll try to trace it first. Too many vertices. Let's have less detail. Let's have less refinement. Less detail. Less concavity. Okay. I'm gonna accept this. Remove the vertices that are not strictly necessary. I'm gonna move this here. I'm going to create a few more vertices. I think, no, maybe I can work with just this. I'll have to test this out. So I'm going to bind this at first just here, then assign also the front and the back, and then we'll see if I should swap it out or add some controls. Probably I should, to control the hair in general, but at first, if the hair is not moving, I think I'm gonna assign here on the sides more of face inverse, so it starts wrapping around the face. Here should be less strong, here it should be stronger. Then here it feels like it's quite strong. Maybe this part should be influenced more by face control, so it's a bit more detached from the face. Okay, so now it wraps nicely around. We could probably do the hat and then the rest of the hair. I'm going to create a mesh again, at first by tracing. I'm gonna accept it, but I'm gonna change a little bit how they are spaced out. Here I'm gonna add one so it stands closer. Can I simplify this further? Okay, I think that's it. But then when it curves it's gonna look ugly. I'm gonna leave it as is. Probably I could add another ring of vertices here, but I'll start simple with this at first and then complicate it. Here's the second mesh. I'm also going to trace it. I'm going to remove these useless vertex. This. Modify this so it's like this. Maybe I could even get it to be straighter so it follows better the lines on the drawing like this. So it follows the shape too. Then probably I could also add a couple of vertices here to simulate the curvature of this area better. All that's left is the back of the hat, for which I think probably gonna add a vertex here where it touches with the other mesh, same here. Even better if we get it to overlap a bit nicer than what I did. Okay, maybe something like this, and then I'll delete this angle. I'll create some more. I double clicked to delete a vertex quickly. I'll start assigning the weights at first to the middle of the hat. So here I'll bind it so it follows. I think face control is enough, and the back. Yeah, face holder, not face control. So here I'm gonna assign it at first completely to face holder, and then get the parts that should wrap around to have more influence of the face inverse. Here, where it should be less strong, I'm gonna do this. So see, it creates this sort of curvature, this nice curvature. And here too, I'm going to get this to be slightly less. And I want to weight these two to the same bones. So no, in this case I want more bones because this is going to be pushed a bit more in the front. So face control, holder and inverse. And then I'm going to assign the weights. This is the one that is going to be 100% because it's the strongest point, and the rest should instead go towards the back. Now, because face holder is a bit useless in this case, I think I'm gonna go for the face inverse more, so it can start wrapping around like this. Okay, then it's a matter of changing the weights until this looks curved. As you see, I'm eyeballing it while the animation is playing. Okay, face inverse. Maybe I'll get this to be stronger here and same here, so it's pushed more in the front. Okay, then for the back. Okay, the back is going to have similar weights. I think I'm gonna bind it to the same bones as the one in the front, and then I'm gonna speed this up by welding this mesh to the one in the front at first, so it follows perfectly what the front one is doing. So I'll weld, let's do this, weld all of them to the front like this. Let's see what it did. Now it's perfectly adhering to the front, so it saves me a bit of time. Okay, then I'll apply here more of face inverse, same here, so it moves in reverse. I think this part in the back is too strong. She could have used some ears. They are covered by this piece of cloth. Then it means that I need to also weight this thing, the lace. I'll trace it. I'll try to remove some vertices. And then, so the more simplified it is, the easier it is going to be to rig it. I'll create here a vertex, get it a tad closer so it's easier to assign the weights that I want. I'll bind these here, same thing, bind to 1, 2, 3. Animate mode, it got the wrong weight, so I want it not to be moving, so at first I'll assign a 50-50 so it stays in place between face control and face inverse. It stays in place because given that inverse goes at exactly -100, it gets the effect of anchoring in place something. Now I'm going to select the inside vertices here and increase face control. It sort of works, but when it reaches a certain point, it seems like it detaches. So maybe this one needs to be less strong. I'm guessing that I'm pushing it too much on one side. So let's see this. It's slightly too much out of range, and this gets it within range instead. Let's see it on the opposite side. Yeah, probably this is correct now. Feel like now this part is going too much on the inside and it should pop out a bit more. Yeah, and this a little bit less. Okay, and this one, which is not moving, I'm going to try to attach to the face by giving it more face control influence. This is too strong, so I'm going to lower it. It's its destiny to be in the wrong, to have the wrong weight. Let's see. There is no way we're gonna get this to be correct, it seems. So I guess this is the best that can be done. Also, it looks like this hat in the back is not exactly the thing most in the back. So I'm gonna push it now. So in theory now should be better. Yeah. I'm noticing that the eyeballs are also in eye globes are also doing the wrong thing. So I'm going to repair this one to IR. This one to IL. Well, all of these, they could be parented to... Okay, this should not actually move with mouth holder. The teeth should actually move with face holder instead. Ah, there's the bow that needs to be attached. And then this 3D-ness of the face part is basically completed. I'll go back here, turn this into a mesh. Maybe I'll trace it. I'll also create couple more vertices so I can get this to be inside and have better control of this part. Then I'll add a few more vertices here. Then I could get this to be softer. So for that sake, I've added a few more vertices. Here there's another of these bows. Cool, I like this one. All right, let's see if this is enough. Now, I think I'll need a few more controls to be able to flap around the hair as well as the rest. Here's the hair. Well, for the bow it's simple because I just need to create, as a child of the jaw, a control for this bow that will, well, one, hold it, and then maybe I'll get this to do this here and then another one on this side so it can flap. I think I'm going to create a bone to anchor this in place here and another one here. Maybe I'll also add a little one here so that it can be shaken a little bit but still be in place. Sort of try to create a middle controller of this hair here. Would that look ugly or good? It sort of works, but it's also sort of ugly. Okay, I tried to do less work. I think I have to do it properly. I'm going to choose face holder as the parent bone, and I'm going to start from the middle one. Well, since I could not animate it because I can just use the physics constraint, I think I can try to use slightly more controls than I normally would because I'm gonna let it be animated by physics. And let's do it. Maybe these two are gonna be controlled by this. Here, this and this are gonna be controlled by this thing. This, whatever, it's gonna be here. And then these ones can have their own... let's overdo it. 2 bones. Never seen before on stream. Alright, so since I have all these parts, I want to see the result of brutally just applying physics. Physics, there we go. Even with a head turn, it's nice. The hair sort of moves on its own, very pretty. And they are not even meshes. I'm gonna turn these off and instead assign it more of a face. That wasn't the problem. The hat is. Okay, that means that I need to edit this mesh. I know. I'm going to modify this and push it up. Now it works. Okay, action. I just moved the vertices slightly more up. I need to change the weights for this hair strand and also weight here, the little ribbon. Okay, I'll bind this here and maybe to the base. Then I'll assign physics constraint. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, the movement is very subtle. I like that. Then here I'm gonna attach these to the dress bow. These two. Maybe this can be more on the base. Then maybe overall, this part that is under the chin could be more attached to... I should probably use the face. So I'm gonna bind the face too, so that it will rotate with the face. And then get it to be attached there. Then here, I think I'm gonna smooth it a little. Same here on these ones. It's a tad nicer. Now I'm going to turn all of these hair locks into meshes. I'll do it at once by selecting all of these and then checking mesh. Then I think that to bind them one by one. I wanted to avoid that, but I'll bind them, okay. Let's get them to be anchored in the right spots. So these should be pushed a bit to be more in the back. Then here I can also get this to be more in the back to create more of a sense of curvature. Here too I can get this to be influenced more by face inverse. And we're attaching this hair back in place. So it gets to be more in the front. Okay, this one, I'll bind it here. Let's see. I'll probably try to push it more in the front with this. I want them to be influenced more by face control. This feels detached. So I'm going to bind it to the back and get it to be reattached to the back. Sort of want to edit this mesh to make it cuter. I'll need to apply more of face inverse here. Yeah, that improved it instantly. Here too, face inverse. I want a little bit of curvature here too. Here too. There's a random hair strand that is moving in reverse. What happened to you? Let's get it to be here and then be more on face control. So if I were to add to this test animation and pretend that she was talking, maybe I could add a couple of movements like this. Definitely looks better. Then if I wanted to, I could also add some global wind movement and get the hair to move with it. To set the wind, one can just go in, okay, the various settings here, and we could animate the wind like this. So we just check global because I am not gonna control them one by one, and say we want to control it here. This way we have a singular timeline. Another trick could be to animate the wind for one strand and then copy and paste it for the others with small time offset. Oh yeah, that's also a neat idea. I feel like there's some potential, but there would need to be some more offset, definitely. If I were to animate this decently for one and then translate it to the rest, it would be a lot better. Yeah, there's also the back of the hair that I could also get to move a little bit with everything else. Then I'm going here, binding it to these various bones. Here I'm gonna assign more of hair 4. So I'll complete this session. Do we want her to say something in particular? Because I could say something now. Record it, add it in. Can I do the recording from here? Registratore, this one. In the meanwhile, think of a phrase to make her say. I'll try to use the voice that is nice instead of the voice that is high-pitched. Dresses have layers. Dresses have layers. Did you know? Okay, that's one. I think it worked. It worked. I'm going to place it inside the audio. M4A is basically the audio of MP4. Yeah, but I need it in waveform because Rhubarb wants it that way. Okay, at first, I'll show you Rhubarb. I'm going to divide this recording in 2 parts. So this is kind of the end of this part, and I'm going to separate this in a second video, so tune in for the second part.